All right, good morning, everybody. Responding to a quora question: is there such a thing as kosher pet food? It's a very good question because there's a lot of misunderstanding about this issue. So basically, first of all, I have two pets at home. One of them pretty much only eats kosher food. That's a tortoise. All he eats are salads. So, although we don't check the salads for bugs as we might for ourselves before we give it to the tortoise, but beyond that, that's what it eats. So he only eats kosher food. The other pet that I have is a gecko, and she only eats non-kosher food. She only eats bugs, mealworms, and roaches, caterpillars, and things like that. And we sprinkle on there some dust that's calcium, usually from some kind of shellfish shells that are crushed up. Also not kosher, right? Although that we could discuss what the implications of that. The only issue we have is, are there any other kosher issues, for example, with either of these? So when it comes to the tortoise that we have, really no. Everything's kosher, and everything's pretty much kosher all year round. For the gecko, though, when I feed her mealworms, the mealworms come in a little container with some sort of a flour, flour flour, that very well may be, or almost certainly is not kosher for Passover. And when it comes to things not being kosher for Passover, you get to another level, and that is the level which we have to be concerned with when it comes to pet food. And that is what we call in Hebrew Isurei Hana'ah, prohibitions of benefit. Hana'ah really means pleasure or benefit. And it means like this. When it comes to non-kosher species of animals, or when it comes to non-kosher animals that are of kosher species but are not properly slaughtered and so forth, those are under, again, what we would call in Hebrew Isurei Achila. There is a prohibition against eating these things, but there's no prohibition against deriving benefit from them. And so therefore, to feed non-kosher meat to your dog is okay. And actually the Bible mentions that if you slaughter a kosher animal and it winds up not being kosher, you're supposed to give it to the dog. There's a joke actually about that. The joke is that there was a rather ignorant rabbi in the town. In the old days, you would bring your chicken to the rabbi to look and see if it's kosher. And this one rabbi, all he knew was the Bible verse said that you throw something that's not kosher, treifa, kelev tashlichanoso. You throw it to the dog. So that was his test to see if it was kosher or not. If he threw it to the dog and the dog ate it, so then that's how he understood that it wasn't kosher. So he was declaring almost all meat not to be kosher. Of course, that is just a joke. But in any event, So when it comes to the non-kosher species and the like I said, we feed bugs to our non-kosher bugs to our gecko. And so too, even with pork, even though there might be a rabbinical prohibition against raising pigs, especially in the Holy Land, it's not really, the biggest deal. But you're allowed to feed your dog a pork-based dog food or something. No problem with that in Jewish law. However, there is something, like I said, called Isurei Hanoah. And the two main Isurei Hanoah that we would encounter in our day and age, even though there are others, one is seasonal and one applies all year. So the seasonal one we already mentioned is Passover. And so, like I said, we have to remove we can't keep our mealworms to feed the gecko in chametz, in something that would not be kosher for Passover from a biblical standpoint, leaven. So we find some alternative, some different type of a grain that is permitted, even if it's traditionally avoided, but it's actually permitted, would be okay. And so too, you can't feed your dog bread, and that could be sometimes a problem with some of the dog biscuits and so forth. So during Passover, you have to be concerned with that. And I believe that one of the dog biscuit brands is called Milk-Bone, which I believe indicates, might be wrong, but whether it's true or not, you're not allowed to derive benefit, just like you're not allowed to derive benefit from chametz on Pesach, from the leavened, forbidden grains that you're not allowed to use other than as matzah during Passover. So too, there's all year round a prohibition of Isur Hanoah against meat and milk that has been cooked together, particularly even though we don't eat poultry and milk, that you are allowed to have benefit from. But you're not allowed to have benefit from the kosher domestic mammals cooked with milk. Beef, lamb, goat, cooked with milk are an Isur Hanoah. That doesn't, as opposed to the wild mammals that are kosher, like a deer, that's only an Isur Achilo, and the poultry with milk is only an Isur Achilo. But the domestic mammals with milk is an Isur Hanoah. So you could feed your dog something like a venison that's cooked in milk, or even though or chicken or turkey cooked with milk. But you could not feed beef or lamb or goat cooked with milk. And so you have to look on the ingredients of your dog food to make sure that if it contains beef or lamb or goat, that it does not contain milk. And then during Passover, you should look at the ingredients. I don't know if they put the ingredients on dog foods or not. I haven't bought dog food. I grew up with dogs in my house, but I don't. As a child in my mother's house, but I don't have dogs or cats. But that's what you have to look out for. Those are the two main things. So wheat, etc., barley and rye and so forth is spelled on Passover. Some people say oats, but I would venture to say you probably don't have to worry about oats as far as that's concerned. Even though I would avoid eating it on Passover, and probably would still try to avoid owning it. So that you have to be concerned about. During Passover for those 8 days, and meat and milk cooked together, that you have to be concerned all year round, and that's it. Again, like I said, there are other Isurei Hano, like Kilei Kerem and things like that, that you don't really, that doesn't really come up so much. Thank you for watching. God and a Vidazara, right? Again, Yain Nesech as opposed to Stam Yeno. Doesn't really come up. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. See you later.